What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Recon's Top 5 of the Week. Once again, coming from the car, man, because I was like, you know what? I gotta get this recorded before I leave, and the only way that was gonna happen is if we were doing it from the car. And so, once again, if you're not familiar with the Top 5 of the Week format, this is where I get the opportunity to be able to talk about things that have been rent-free lately, or a reread, or a rewatch, or a new watch, or a new read, or whatever it is that's been consistently rent-free for the past week. And so I'm recording this once again before the hiatus, but I had to do it, man. I had to do it because there's some stuff I got to talk about, you know what I'm saying? So starting us off here at matter of fact, we're gonna have six. We're gonna have six today. Coming in number 6, I have a recent book that just recently came out that delves into the mind of the editor of Akira Toriyama, whose name I believe was Kazuhiko Torishima, who is the person who edited, or who was the main editor for Dr. Slump, for Dragon Ball until like 1992 or 1993, and also was one of the editors for Video Girl I, and I'm trying to remember what else, but this is an individual who worked with Akira Toriyama, man, during the prime days of both Dr. Slump and Dragon Ball. So immediately when I saw that on the premise alone, I was like, this is going to be a very interesting read. I love reading stuff like this, especially when it comes to individuals that work in a field that I'm very, very interested in. But what I didn't know was that this individual then went on to become Jump's editor-in-chief after that, from 1996 until like just recently. Or I think until like, I'll have to keep reading in order to see, but I think it was from like 96 to like the mid 2000s or somewhere in there. And I was like, bro, that was the era for me, right? Talking about the big three, you're talking about Hunter x Hunter, you're talking about D. Gray Man and Hitman Reborn and Gintama and Death Note and Steel Ball Run and like so many things, right? Yu-Gi-Oh! During that era of Shonen Jump. And so I was like, Toriko, Kuroko no Basket, you know, so many. So it's like there's so many great manga that came out while this dude was editor-in-chief. So I didn't know that whenever I started reading it. So it's been a really interesting read. I think the number one thing that it's been most interesting is seeing his philosophy towards manga, which is the manga that are easy to read are the ones that end up appealing to a mass market audience. I think that's such an interesting concept, considering how Dr. Slump is read, the way that Dragon Ball is read. Those are two manga. Akira Toriyama obviously is a master. I mean, you want to talk about a paneling master, a master of the page, a master of comics. It's Akira Toriyama, man. And something that both Dr. Slump and Dragon Ball have in common is that, yes, it is very easy to read, even in the midst of whatever chaotic stuff might be happening, especially towards the latter half of Dragon Ball. It's still very, very easy to tell what's going on in a given page. Another thing that's really interesting is seeing Akira Toriyama in his early days. I'm talking about like how he looks at how he wanted to create manga, how he wanted to make an adventure manga for Dragon Ball, and then due to the things that were happening, and this is stuff that we already know, but it's just seeing it from his perspective, that due to outside circumstances and not wanting to give up Dragon Ball and give up the series, and the editor not wanting to give up on the series either, they made the transition into it being more of a combat-based series. And it's like, could you imagine if Dragon Ball never went through that, bro? Like, obviously, early Adventure Dragon Ball is so amazing, and it's one of the reasons why I love GT and even Daima recently, because it does go into Adventure Dragon Ball that I would love so much. But could you imagine not having combat-focused Dragon Ball, bro? That's crazy. So that was a really enlightening read to be able to experience there. So I'm enjoying that a lot. Had to include that on the list somewhere. Coming number 5, I know that that I said I wouldn't talk about series that I don't, or that I do cover on a regular basis, because this is for series that I don't cover on a regular basis. You know, I don't want to. If not, One Piece will be here every week. But coming number 5, we have a novel spin-off based off of the One Piece series, which is the One Piece novel Heroines Volume 1. I just started reading this recently, and I've gotten through 2 short stories. So it's like a collection of short stories told through the point of view of one of the straw hats, or the point of view of a character viewing one of our straw hats, or maybe even like a third person omniscient at times. That's like just overall looking at different characters or whatever, but they're all short stories. So the first one was focused on Nami, and the second one was focused on Robin, and both of them were exceptional in their own ways. The Nami one just felt like a really cool one-shot story, similar to Fan Letter, although, you know, Fan Letter's in its own league, but it's kind of like that, where a character learns more about themselves and what they value and what they treasure because of a straw hat, and that was the beauty of the Nami one-shot. The Robin one, though, delves into what she was going through with the Revolutionary Army during the time skip. And just having stuff like Dragon said as a dialogue tag, Sabo said, Koala said, I was like, bro, this is peak, man. And then the art, I was like, nah, man, this is speaking to me. So, like I said, the Nami one really hit me in one way, but man, the Robin one was like, oh my God, bro, this is amazing. Like, I'm really, really rocking with this. And so I've been enjoying that so far. Excited to be able to lock back into that and continue reading the One Piece novel Heroines before the next one comes out, which I believe is going to be in July. So I'll take my own pace with that. Whenever I feel like reading some One Piece, I'll pop out the book and continue on. Excited. I think the next one is Vivi. Yeah, the next one is Vivi. And then I'm trying to remember, because I know there's like an extra Nami one in here, but I don't remember if like the one after that's like Hancock or if it's Bonnie. One of them. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and check. But so far it's been Nami and Robin, and it's been really, really good. I've been enjoying it so far. So that's my number 5. Coming at number 4, we have, oh man, dude, like, so every year I do a reread of, I do 2 things. It's become almost a yearly thing, where I reread Steel Ball Run and I rewatch Hunter x Hunter. So I started the reread of Steel Ball Run early because of the hype, and this particular reread has been so much fun. It's like I'm rereading it twice, because I'm rereading it on my own, and then I'm rereading it with my boy AJ. Shout out to AJ over on Twitch every Wednesday. But my own personal Steel Ball Run reread has been so fascinating, because every time that I start rereading Steel Ball Run, and same thing when I start rewatching Hunter x Hunter, it gets me in the mood to want to watch other anime or read other manga. So we're about to get to another one here and later on the list that I started reading because of my Steel Ball Run reread. But from the reread itself, there's a particular chapter that really stood out to me. I'm not going to go into spoilers, just in case there is an individual who has not read Steel Ball Run. I'll do like a spoiler thing in the future, and of course because the anime is about to drop, so I don't want to keep it as spoiler free as possible. But there is a chapter, chapter 25, that has been rent free in my head since I reached that point in my reread a couple of days ago, and that chapter changes Steel Ball Run completely. It is a masterful, self-contained chapter that also does so much for setting up the future of Steel Ball Run, while also paying off what's currently happening, right? And setting up mysteries, getting you more invested in the overall overarching narrative, what's the dynamics between the main characters, as well as what the roles could potentially be for other members of the cast that hadn't had a role up until this point. It's a masterclass of a chapter, man. It's 55 pages, or I think it's 55 or 59 pages of just, it's brilliant. It's manga brilliance, man. And it's like this particular reread, for some reason, just made that chapter really stand out to me. Like, man, this is a masterclass in manga. It's so unbelievably special, and just what a great chapter for introductions, for bringing, like I said, characters back that were a part of the side cast that like have a role that's like really unexpected, mysteries, so much for the overarching narrative, while also keeping the self-contained. It's doing what I love so much about many of my favorite stories, which is telling something really cool that gets you invested in the short term while also setting up for the long term, right? And that is like that chapter to a T. And so I really, really enjoyed chapter 25, and I just wanted to talk about that here in this particular installment of the top 5 of the week, because it was just so good, man. It's so good. And so shout out to Steel Ball Run. Excited to continue to reread on that, especially with where I'm about to get to, which is super goated stuff. Now, coming on after that, we got the top 3. It was hard to rank these this week because they're all really cool for different reasons. But coming in number 3, I have the final stretch here of Awashi. Awashi is going to come to a close in around 3 weeks. If I'm not mistaken, or 3 chapters. I'm not sure if they're going to take a break in the middle of it, but in around 3 chapters. And man, this final game has been something else, bro. This final game has been something else, man. And coming off of reading the most recent chapter, it was like, man, it really is coming to a close. You know, it hurts because I love Awashi so much as a manga, as an experience, something I look forward to every time it drops. Like, man, let's flipping go, dude. I'll hit up my boy Carl, be like, Carl, Awashi's out, man. Like, let's go, baby, because it's a manga that has me invested in the characters, in the match, in all of their future endeavors, right? And it's just, I with characters that I am so invested in, all I want to do is continue going on that journey, and knowing that it's coming to a close soon, it's caused to be rent-free. And this match has been absolutely insane, man. I mean, from beginning to end, it has been non-stop insanity. And to finish it off the way that they did, it was like, holy mother flag. Like that entire final volume, however long that it's gonna cover, is going to be nuts, man. It's gonna be like one of the coolest volumes ever to have potentially in a collection, just because of the amount of content that's in it. That's ridiculously good. So what a match, what a series, and I'm gonna miss the characters, man. I'll miss the characters. So undoubtedly, the week that Awashi ends, I look forward to reflecting on the series as a whole. But for right now, I can't believe it's coming to a close this soon, man. I really felt like Awashi had a lot more chapters in it, and I honestly still feel that way. But it feels like it could end here, and I would understand why. So we'll see how the next 3 chapters go. But that is my number 3. Shout out to Awashi, man. What a great manga. Then my top 2. Man. So these are both 2 new experiences. Man, this is tough because I feel like both of them are equal. Of like, man, I'm so invested. But ultimately, I gotta choose one. And I guess I'm farther in one, so I'm gonna put that one at number 1. So coming number 2, I have a manga. The manga that I started reading thanks to the Steel Ball Run reread. And that manga is a recommendation from my boy Mist. Shout out to Mist, who recommended this on a One Piece live stream. In the chat, where people were just recommending manga, and he said, yo, you should read The Ravages of Time. I kept it in the back burner. I kept it in the back burner. I kept it in the back burner. Y'all, The Ravages of Time is flipping peak, man. I am 102 chapters in. Specifically, 102 chapters in. And dude, from around, I want to say the 20 chapter mark, I have been reading. Bro, there was a point, because I've been really invested in my number 1, so I didn't go as hard on it during yesterday and the day before, and also because I've been packing and stuff. But before that, dude, I was knocking out like 20 chapters a day. This series has something really special going for it. It makes me feel like I'm watching Legend of Galactic Heroes again. Where Legend of Galactic Heroes feels like a really cool alternate history that takes place, but in the future. And it because of that really cool alternate history aspect of it, it allows the creator to express so many different things, from the themes to the characters, that resonate with an audience no matter where it is that the series is created, which is why Galactic Heroes resonates with people who read it back in, or watched it back in like 1988, as well as the individuals who did the novels back in like the 90s or something. And so for all of those things, and for all of those time periods, it's resonated. It also resonated with me when I watched it back in like 2018. And it will continue to resonate because it's just a story that's told that feels like it's timeless. Ravages of Time feels that way, where it delves into so many things that feels so today. It feels so like I understand where these characters are coming from. And because we go into many of their minds with really cool monologues, and the way it's presented is like, oh my God, this is presentation heaven, dude. I mean, so many cool sequences from multiple different characters. It reminds me of whenever my current read through of Malazan. Like whenever we go into a character's head and they just say some stuff that's really like, oh my God, like super profound and very interesting material. And so you're going through that, you're getting this alternative history of this time period, and I'm experiencing already something that's already gone through this time period like this in Kingdom, and so I have that lens I'm viewing it through. But now I'm seeing it through this entirely different lens, and it's like, oh man, it's been sensational. The name Lu Bu has an entirely different meaning to me now. What a character, bro! What a concept! What a concept. Like, the name Lu Bu as a concept in this series is, like, unreal. It reminds me of kind of like the way that Yumeneko handles Beatrice, right? Like, it's so cool. It's like a Pirate King title. And I really do like it a lot, man. I love a lot of the characters. I love, actually, almost all the characters that I've got introduced to so far. So many interesting situations, so many moments where the manga's outsmarting me and I'm invested because I want to know what happens next, how do they get out of the situation, as well as just coming out of certain read-through sections being like, man, that was some really powerful stuff, and it's only in the first 100 chapters. I love the art style, love the way the pages are presented, love the paneling. I love so much about the series so far, man. But the number one thing has been that Legend of the Galactic Heroes-esque way of this series telling its story. And because of that, I've been really, really enjoying it so far. And so shout out to The Ravages of Time. So excited to get back to it. I believe my number one. And my number one, y'all know I've been talking about 100 Line for the past couple of weeks because that's what I was playing. I put that to the side because I want to play that while I'm on my hiatus alongside my number one of this week, which is Xenoblade Chronicles. Xenoblade Chronicles. Xenoblade mother flipping Chronicles, man. I blame Mr. X Reacts. I blame AJ. I blame everyone who's ever gotten me to play Xenoblade because, man, I was super obsessed with Xenogears, right? And I loved Xenosaga. I blame y'all for my addiction, man. This is how serious it is, man. I just turned on the car and started driving because this is how this game makes me feel. You know what I'm saying? It's the type of thing that makes you just want to drive around and just contemplate, like, sweet mother of Flagnards, man. I'm playing some big. That's like what I'm doing, bro. Listen to me, man. This game, this party, the music, bro. The party of Shulk, Melia, Sharla, Ricky, flippin' Rain, and my dog, Shanks, aka Dunban. Bro, yo, man, I'm rocking with the squad. And not only am I rocking with the squad, I'm rocking with the combat system. I'm rocking with the music. I'm rocking with the way that the game does, like, its accessories and the way that it goes into upgrading, like, your skills and things of that nature. I love the towns. Did I say I love the music? I love the flipping music, bro. And listen, man, I'm mid chapter 9 right now. And I'm unsealing the seal so I can make it over to Prison Tower. And bro, I was literally just playing it before I left the house. And I almost brought my Switch with me, but I was like, man, I gotta concentrate. I gotta focus. I'm gonna take it with me later for sure. But this game, it's like, bro, you know what it is? It just really feels like I'm experiencing a classic JRPG that's just speaking to me, you know. And I love Tetsuya Takahashi's a creator. I was telling AJ about this, and I'm sure for anybody who's interested in this, he probably watched my conversation with AJ when I told him I was playing Xenoblade. And the initial thing that had me so interested in this game is Tetsuya Takahashi is a creator because I love Xenogears so much. That's a top 10 game of all time for me. And then going into Xenosaga, and I can't wait to finish that, finish the second one and then get into the third one, to see the full scope of his creative endeavors, and because he's such an interesting creator. Yoko Taro, Hideo Kojima, like in the video game space, those creators just fascinate me with the way they do their thing. But in Tetsuya Takahashi's case, I really wanted to see how he would tell a story, because Xenosaga reminded me so much of Xenogears, with the types of stuff that those games go into, that I was wondering how in the flying flagnards he was going to create a game, because it's a part of his blood, right? It's a part of his system. So, and with the Xeno name still in the title, I was wondering how he was going to explore concepts like this, except in a Nintendo game, because this is a Xenoblade Chronicles that dropped originally on the Wii. So that was an immediate selling point of, like, I'm interested in seeing how this individual would take something like that, because Xenogears in and of itself is someone taking the battle shonen nature of what that game starts off on, and implementing so many cool concepts and ideas that are just interesting to Takahashi and his wife, right, who are the writers of that game. And it makes it to where it's a really, really interesting exploration of many different philosophical and ideas that just really make you think, especially when in cohesion with the narrative and what the story's trying to say. And so because of that, I was like, how in the flying flatters is he going to do something like that with Xenoblade? And it's been such an interesting experience so far, because I haven't even reached the second half of the Xeno games I've played so far are normally the ones that explore stuff like that. So I haven't even gotten to that point. You know what I'm saying? I'm on chapter 9. And I think what's been so cool about this game so far is that I am so invested in what's currently happening with the mechons, with the party, with the like what's currently going down where you have to get to Prison Island, with the observation hockey scenes where we see into the future, like the Monado, like all of these things are so interesting to me, because you're going into, can you change fate? Can you change the future once it happens? Then you start diving into certain things with like AI and free will, and it's like, bro, I'm only first half in the game, you know? So I'm interested in seeing where all this goes. The prologue and the beginning and like the first couple chapters were super great selling points. But as the game continued, I've just been getting more and more invested, to the point to where now I'm locked in, baby. Like, I can't wait to see the full ride. And the Melia stuff in particular has been really interesting to me, because I just recently went through Final Fantasy X again, like I talked to you all about in previous Top 5 of the Week. And Melia reminds me a lot of what Yuna has to go through within Final Fantasy X. And so bringing in that particular thing that I'm already connected to has allowed for a different layer of immersion and like me being invested with the characters, where I just can't wait, man. I just can't wait to lock back in and get back on the game to see what happens on Prison Island. Like, do we save this flipping man? Does fate inevitably continue? Like, what's gonna happen, bro? What's gonna happen? Shout out to Dunban too, man. That man said, "Yo, you went up to Kalia and was like, brother, I know that y'all have a plan that y'all already want to do, but screw all that, man. We're not under your rule. We Homs are gonna do what we Homs do." And I was like, that's my guy. Let's flip and go, man. We're gonna try to save the king, because that is my girl's pops. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know what's about to happen. I'm excited to see what goes down. But man, Xenoblade, what a game. The party that I've been running, originally I was really liking the Riki, Rain and Shulk party. But bro, in this chapter, I've been messing around with Shulk, Melia, and Sharla, and then Shulk, Sharla, and Dunban. Yo, Sharla's been cooking, bro. Especially after I gave her a new weapon. Man, her heals are just so top notch. But anyways, Xenoblade, absolute peak. I have to get going now. Much love to everybody who told me to play this game on a serious note, because it is awesome and I really, really love it, man. Much love to everybody. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Top 5 of the Week, and I will see y'all next time for hopefully another Xenoblade update, and maybe I'll have both Xenoblade and 100 Line completed next time we do a Top 5 of the Week. So we'll see what happens. Take care. Have a good one. Man, my Nintendo Switch is going on with a bang, dude. Bangers, dog.